Welcome back, everyone. This is Jebediah. Jebediah is currently being launched through the thermosphere at over 2,000 meters a second. And this is Jebediah after his rocket exploded in the thermosphere and he was left to fall from the exosphere. Jebediah will be fine. Welcome to Kerbal Space Program, a place where advanced science, interplanetary spaceships, and golf truly thrive. Nice. Despite what my Steam profile says, I suck at Kerbal Space Program. But today we're going to be changing that, because I plan on going to every single planet, not every single moon because I don't care to do all of the jewel moons. Two more things before we begin. One, I knew a very minute amount of things when I went into this playthrough, and I thought it'd make it a little more interesting if I tried to keep it that way. I didn't really look anything up except for opening windows for when I can transfer to another planet. Number two is that I have never even gone to another planet in this game, so it's going to be an experience for both of us. Also, I'm using all stock parts. And with all of that out of the way, let me introduce you to the very first rocket I made. Alright. This is our amazing craft. I shall name thee I don't know. Now, before I launched this beautiful work of art, the first thing I did was sit on the launch pad and collect that juicy, nice, divine science points. Let me give you guys a really quick lesson on how this game works. To start off, whenever you launch a spaceship into a new or unknown location, you can perform science to find out new things about those locations. What you can do with those science points is unlock more things on your skill tree to get you more advanced rockets, more advanced control systems, solar panels, other things to do science with, anything of that variety to help you explore more and more and more. And I want to 100% this skill tree by the end of this run, which means I'm going to have to explore quite a bit. But without further ado, let me actually launch my first rocket for this playthrough. The SAS, and then I'm going to press the spacebar. And it's just like, God, how do I get to be this awesome, you know? And you know what we do? We take it in the first part of the atmosphere. We don't take it in the second part of the atmosphere. We take it in the first part of the atmosphere. Because the second part of the atmosphere will take at a separate point in time, and that'll give us different results than the first point in the atmosphere. Overall, the launch went pretty well. Jebediah will be able to hug his kids tonight. And of course, immediately after that, I used those science points I had just gained to just be able to make some bigger rockets, because I have priorities. Using those new rocket parts, I built a slightly more advanced rocket that used a liquid fuel engine as its final propulsion system. A liquid fuel engine is just going to allow me to turn that engine on and off and slightly steer the craft better. I landed my second successful launch and got even more science points, and then I finally started to do some actual work. Inside of the mission control building, I can accept missions and test facilities from other companies that'll pay me money to test or do certain things. Whether that's plant a flag on a specific moon or planet, or it could be to test a thermal shield at a certain height going at a certain speed. This is also one of the easiest ways to get money in this game, and yes, I can go bankrupt in this game as well, so it's something I have to watch out for. Okay. I just bought the wrong thing. Oh my god, I just bought the wrong thing. Why did I buy the aviation? The aviation does not matter. Now, the aviation branch inside of the science tree has some pretty cool stuff for planes. One problem though, this is Kerbal Space Program. Planes don't work in space. Now, as frustrated as I was at myself during this point in time, I didn't really care that much, considering that eventually I was going to have to unlock it anyways to 100% the skill tree, but it still set me back considering there were some more important things I needed at this point in time. So honestly, it wasn't a really big deal. I just had to do one more launch to be able to get the science points I needed to unlock what I actually wanted to unlock in the first place. Bing bang boom, I had just escaped the atmosphere and taken some science all the way up there, and now I had the science I needed to get those things unlocked. After finally collecting all of the money and science points I needed, I finally had everything to make the most advanced rocket this world had ever seen. I named it the Flyby Distillery, because its purpose was purely to fly by the moon and grab as many science points from it as possible. For an incredibly calming and peaceful flight back into Kerbin's ocean, we got as many science points as I could ever dream for. After using all of these science points, I was able to build the next most advanced rocket in all of history. However, this rocket was specifically designed to land upon the moon because there was a mission at that point in time that was for quite a bit of money.
El arco iris su belleza y las flores su perfume su color no sería tan inmensa mi tristeza como aquello de quedarme sin tu amor. Me importas tú y tú es solamente tú y tú me importas tú y tú es solamente tú y tú me importas tú y tú es solamente tú y tú me importas tú y tú es solamente tú y tú me importas.
Not only did I make it to the moon and back, but I also grabbed all the science points that I needed, which was a staggering 791. With this, I bought some new rocket parts. And can you guess what I did with them? Can you guess? Huh? I built the strongest rocket this world's ever seen again. Now, I would tell you this rocket's name or everything that I did with it, but honestly, it's kind of boring. I just went to the second moon that surrounds the planet that this game is based around, which is called Minmus. It's actually easier to go to, arguably, than the first moon, so it's very boring. One thing that did happen was this was the first ever launch to a new location that I had with a science lab attached to the ship. The science lab basically allows me to take any science points that I gain during the launch and multiply them vastly, so long that I have a scientist to put in the science lab and electricity to run through it. So I was going to send a Kerbin, a poor little green boy, into space in a science lab and leave them there for months so they could perform science and get me more science points. After they made their amazing return back to the main planet, I gave them a whole 2 days before I sent them out on their next mission. Can you guess what their next mission was? It was to go to another planet. Now initially I didn't plan on trying to go to a new planet this quickly. I was going to do a couple more launches, get a little bit more money in the tank, but I saw a mission and I thought it said to go and place an outpost with 6,000 liters of liquid fuel and have a science lab on your ship on Minmus. I thought it said Minmus, not Eve. I found someone online describing how difficult it was on how to land on each one of the planets individually in this game, and let me read you what they said about Eve. The whole blog is actually really long and wordy, but I'll read you the cliff notes. Eve is the second closest planet to the sun in the solar system, and it has a thick, soupy, viscous atmosphere. It's heavier than Kerbin, and you'll be entering at such a fast speed, the air compression and friction will kill you. Now, in a normal situation, I would just deny the mission and go on with my day. However, there's something in this business called a cancellation fee, where they will take my money if I fail to complete the task in a certain amount of time. So this was #1 priority, mainly because if they hit me with that cancellation fee, I was going to go bankrupt. And in career mode in Kerbal Space Program, if you go bankrupt, you just can't do anything. So I designed the newest and a most improved, strongest rocket that the world has ever seen, with the rest of my remaining money, and launched in hopes of reaching Eve.
Round one.
Dude, like, how? Fortunately, there's a quick save feature in this game, and the problem I was running into is that thick, soupy atmosphere had so much air compression happening whenever I was trying to run through the atmosphere at 10 times the speed of sound, that my entire craft was getting destroyed and obliterated in mere moments. So I just had to put more things in between me and where that air compression was happening to hopefully have the craft survive, breaking through the atmosphere at 10 times the speed of sound.
Bonus round. Bonus two. Game over.
Yes! God bless America. Fortunately, not only did my craft, both of the Kerbins, survive, but I also ended up completing the mission in this transaction. Unfortunately, the same rockets that I was going to use to get back off of Eve got destroyed while entering Eve. So these Kerbins will never leave, unless I plan a rescue mission, which I will never do, because I never want to go back here again. Now some of you may be wondering the name of the beautiful ship that I launched into space to get these Kerbins to Eve. The ship's name was Goliath Eve. It's a part of a series that I was going to make for each one of the planets, named after the planet with the word Goliath in it. Why the word Goliath? Because they're all big fucking rockets, that's why. Now, using the data I collected from Eve, I was actually able to finish off the entire science tree for the entire game, which was perfect for me. Though there were still 2 more tasks I needed to do. That was to upgrade all facilities within the KSP, and that is also to go to all of the other planets. And I've only gone to 2. So, since I no longer had a use for science, I decided to sign a contract with a facility that basically said they get 90% of the science that I achieve, and for that, they will pay me handsomely for the science I give them. For those of you who are mentally inclined, you would know this is called selling out my intellectual property rights. I'm selling my soul for a couple mil. With that being said, I actually had the money to immediately launch a slightly modified version of the Eve Goliath, naming it the Duna Goliath, and heading straight to Duna, which is what normal people consider the first planet that you should go to in a KSP playthrough. Once I got into Duna's atmosphere, it was an absolute breeze landing on the planet, just for me to start doing the science and then receiving twice as much money as I spent on the rocket back from all of the science that I was selling. So I was just going to continue this process of slightly modifying the Goliath ship for each one of the planets that I was going to go to. Just before actually launching ships towards all of the planets, I needed a more productive way of getting science data to and from other locations and other planets from really far away. So I launched up a ring of satellites, spun them at a horrifically high speed, and then launched them across the entire solar system. So now, whenever I open up a map of the solar system, my eyes are attacked and harassed with the strobe lights that are all of the satellites pinging off of each other at all the same time, because I'm a human and I really love to litter. all over the place. Now that I had those satellites in place, I put a satellite right around Joule's atmosphere. Joule is a gas giant, so this is as close as I can get to landing on it without inevitably dying. Next I went to Dress and started planning how I was going to make it to Moho. Dress is basically an identical brother to Duna, at least as far as I was aware, because Duna and Dress were pretty close to the same size. The only difference was that Dress doesn't have a very small thin layer of atmosphere and Duna does have a very small thin layer of atmosphere. Also around this time I started putting drills on the landers, and I would drill into the planets for ore, then I would convert that ore to fuel on the planet so I could launch back to Kerbin once I was done getting all the science from these planets, so I wasn't actually losing that many scientists and leaving them on these planets. And with this, I launched my final 2 rockets to Moho and Ilu, the closest planet and the furthest planet in the solar system. And with that, I had visited every single planet, and I had gotten so much science from each one of them that I actually had enough money to upgrade everything on the KSP. I was done. There was nothing left to do, except for put all of the Kerbins on a rocket and fly them into the sun. So that's exactly what I did. I'll be honest, I don't really know why I put them all onto a rocket just to fly them into the sun. I think I was bored, probably sick of playing the same space game for a month. School started while I was making this video. I'm really impressed I actually released it on time. I just finished editing this the day before it's supposed to launch, which weirdly enough is Labor Day. To anybody who's seen it, it's probably obvious to you, but this video was inspired by martincitopants. I probably got his name wrong. I'll put his entire Kerbal Space Program series in the description. It was the original reason why I wanted to do this series, and I mainly wanted to step away from the Minecraft videos because those railroads killed me, man. The next video is probably going to be Subnautica. I'll do Satisfactory soon because the 1.0 release is coming out. All the people scrolling on the screen right now are people who composed the music that I used in this video. Thank you guys so much for watching. Like, subscribe. This is also officially my longest video ever now. So, yeah.